I'm going to treat you the way that you treat me. And that doesn't work with women. It doesn't. It does not work with women at all. Throw the golden rule out the window there, because here's a good example. Has anybody ever lived with like an OCD woman? A woman who's like completely OCD, okay. I lived with a woman for a while who literally, after she was done with the grocery shopping, would take every item out and write her name on it with a Sharpie marker. Every single item, and then put it in the fridge. Now, I wasn't allowed to touch anything with her name on it, that simple. And I always got yelled at for it. But my food disappeared with alarming frequency. So one day, I took her damn cottage cheese out right in front of her and started eating it. She goes, "That has my name on it. That's mine." I said, "Really, half my groceries have disappeared. You eat my food." She goes, "Well, your name's not on it." I said, "There's only 2 of us in this freaking house. If your name isn't on it, then by default, it's mine. Process of elimination." And she looks at me and goes, "So?" And we got into this big argument about it, because obviously what is good enough for the goose is not fucking good enough for the gander in this situation. Well, later on, I'm sitting in the living room watching a DVD and trying to ignore her existence, and she keeps coming out and like walking in front of the television and shit to get my attention. I figure she's just trying to start the argument up again, so I just ignore her and turn the volume up. Then finally she comes out. It turns out she was feeling a little frisky, grabs me by the belt, and, tells me to put the TV on mute. So I went ahead and I muted the television, and she gives me head. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then she looks at me, and she says, "So are you going to return the favor?" And I said, "Absolutely not." She says, "Why not?" I said, "Because you made it very clear earlier today that I wasn't allowed to eat anything of yours." And I was living by myself the next day. The funny thing was, I wasn't living by myself in my apartment. My apartment, by the way, I was on the lease. She looks at me and says, "Get the fuck out of my house." I was like, "It's my house. I pay the rent. I signed the lease." She goes, "Get the hell out of my house or I'm going to call the cops." So I took a magic marker out and wrote my name on the door. I said, "Look, it's mine!" And then I had to try explaining that to the police later on. She's like, "Look, he's a crazy person. He's writing his name on the door and the walls, and I don't know where he got that from. Like, just open the fridge. Look in the fridge. You'll understand, really." They didn't look in the fridge. The next day I was sleeping in my fucking truck and rubbing my wrists from where the handcuffs were taken. And sometimes handcuff chafing can be a good thing. This wasn't one of those situations, but I'm sorry, it was kind of rough.